What's good, y'all? Welcome to the very first episode of Lyrics Breakdown, brought to you by the Rhythm and Peace podcast. I'm your host, Greg Lacey. Now, in this episode, we are going to break down the lyrics to the song Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar to give you all a backstory. First of all, before I even give you all the backstory on the track and how we got here, I want to say a huge shout out to Kendrick for even allowing, creators to be able to react and respond and make videos off of songs. For those of you who don't know, you don't follow like copyright and stuff like that, it's very hard for the YouTube community and the social media community, whatever the case may be, to feature music in their song or feature music in their content because a lot of times songs are copyrighted and so labels get them taken down. The backstory of why this is possible and the reason why I'm shouting out Kendrick is because another podcaster goes by the name of Smack. He's on a podcast called Back on Fig. Very close friends with Schoolboy Q. Obviously, Schoolboy Q been a label mate of Kendrick for a decade plus and been a close friend of Kendrick. One of Schoolboy Q's close friends is also, becomes a friend of Kendrick as well and has that relationship. So while the back and forth between Kendrick and Drake was going on, Schoolboy Q's friend Smack, who was a host of the Back on Fig podcast, basically reached out to either Kendrick or Kendrick Camp and just told them, they was trying to create content around the music. And they couldn't because every time they uploaded it, they got copyright claims. And Kendrick being a good man he is, his camp being the good people that they are, they released all copyright claims and all diss songs that were released as back and forth between him and Drake were copyright free. So that's why you will see a lot of internet reactions, a lot of content surrounding the pieces that Kendrick released during his back and forth because he released those copyright he released a copyright stake, so where it won't be no copyright infringement for content creators. So that's why we are here today creating this lyrics breakdown. The backstory here, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you the short story. Essentially, two of our biggest rappers, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, have been subliminally beefing for a decade plus. Most recently, as of last year, with Drake's last album released, For All the Dogs, he had a song called First Person Shooter, featuring J. Cole. On that song, essentially, we know in the hip-hop community for there to be a big three, meaning there's three rappers who are ahead, they are in a tier their own, separated from all the rest of their peers. Those three being Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole. This is like widely accepted within the hip-hop community. And so, on that song, First Person Shooter, J. Cole is reassessing or reassuring that, we the big three, me, Kendrick, and Drake. On that same song, Drake is saying, nah, it ain't no big three, it's just a big two. Me or you are the best. And so Kendrick took that as another jab. He said, enough is enough. Now I'm putting names on my bullets. So the response to Drake's verse on First Person Shooter was Kendrick's Like That. And if you haven't heard Like That by now, you should go listen to it. But that song caused a mass hysteria within the hip-hop community. There was a good 2 or 3 weeks where, media, social media, wherever the case may be, just the entire world were sitting on their heads waiting to see how Drake and J. Cole responded because he mentioned their names and he mentioned that song specifically. He also mentioned Drake's album in which that song was featured on. So there was no more subliminal shots. There was, I'm stepping up to the plate and then let's go back and forth. J. Cole ended up responding to that song. He ended up resending his response. And then nearly or more than 3 weeks later, Drake finally responded to that song and he dropped the song Push Ups. And the response to Drake's song Push Ups is a song we're going to break down in this video, which is Kendrick's first full song offering in this back and forth, which is Euphoria. The Like That song was Metro Boomin and Futures and Kendrick were just featured on it, but his verse was so powerful that you may think it's Kendrick's song. But this song that we're going to break down in this video, Euphoria, is Kendrick's first full-length offering in between his back and forth, and then 3 subsequent songs follows after that. So in this video, we're going to break down some references. We're going to break down the double entendres. We're going to break down just the lyrics bare. We're going to break down the hidden messages. We're going to break down the Easter eggs. We're going to strip this whole entire song clean. As I know it, there are a lot of stuff that I may think true or some things that I may have missed that you all may have know. But I'm going to break down the things that I've caught and the things that I dissected as I've listened to the song 25,000 times. So the lay of land, how this is going to go, we're going to listen to the song first, and then I want to break it down. The reason why I'm doing it, the reason why I'm structuring it like this is because with songs that have multiple layers, and you can dissect them, the more you listen to it, you catch stuff. Like, I listened to the song when it first came out maybe like 20 times straight, and was still catching stuff every time I listen to it. And so as we listen to it together in this video, you may catch something that you didn't catch before. I may catch something that I never caught before. So we're going to listen to the song together, and then after we listen to the song together, we're going to go back into the lyrics, and I'm going to pick out the different things that I caught while listening to it 25,000 times. Well, that's okay with y'all. If y'all got another structure that y'all prefer, please do let me know in the comments. But this is the very first video, so this is what the lay of the land going to be for this very first video. But without further ado, let's get into the song.
Them superpowers get neutralized, I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate, every antic is feeling distasteful. I calculate you're not as calculated, I can even predict your angles. Fabricating stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale. A pathetic master manipulator, I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection. I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I can double down on that line, but spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
Shoo! 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 Shoo!
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I'm out the way, I'm low, okay. The island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. Hellcat, met his homeboys in them types LA solo, okay. Everybody wanna be demon till they get chipped by your throwaway. And I might do a show a day. Once a lame, always a lame. Oh, you thought the money, the power of fame will make you go away. Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever walked your enemy down like with a poker face? Have you ever paid 500,000 like to an open case? Well, I have, and I failed at both, but I came out straight. I hate when a rapper talk about guns, then somebody die, they turn into nuns, then I hop online like pray for my city, he faking for likes and digital hugs. His daddy a killer, he wanna be junior, they must have forgot the shit that they done. Dementia must run in his family, but let it get shaky. I park your son. The very first time I shot me a Drake, the homie had told me to aim it this way. I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. Cut the finish, you got shit twisted. What is it, the brains? I hurt your feelings, you don't work with me no more. Okay. There's 3 ghosts left, and I see 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. I love them to death, and in 8 bars I'll explain that phrase. It's nothing nobody can tell me. I don't wanna talk on no celly. You know I got language barriers. It's no accent you can sell me. You're Cole and Ivory, know I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell. For him, I inherit the beef. Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. He's Terrence Thornton, I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. We ain't gotta get personal, this a friendly fade. You should keep it that way. I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint. This ain't been about critics, not about gimmicks, not about who the greatest is. Always been about love and hate. Now let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flight, it's gonna be direct. We hate the bitches you fuck, cause they confuse themselves with real women. Then notice I said we, it's not just me. I'm what the culture feeling. How many more fairy tale stories about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough?
I like Drake with the melodies.
I don't like Drake when he act tough. You gon' make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crashed something. Yeah, my first one like my last one. It's a classic, you don't have one. Let your core audience stomach that. Then tell them where you get your abs from. V12, it's a fast one. Bow, bow, bow. Last one. Headshot for the year. You better walk around like Daft Punk. Remember? A top dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Extortion, my middle name. As soon as you jump off of that plane, bitch. I'm allergic to the lame shit. Only you like being famous. Yachty can't give you no swag neither. I don't give a fuck about who you hanging with. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. Surprised you wanted that feature request. You know that we got some shit to address. I even hate when you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess. Some shit just cringeworthy. Ain't even gotta be deep, I guess. Still love when you see success. Everything with me is blessed. Keep making me dance, waving my hand, and it won't be no threat. I'm knowing they call you the boy, but where's the man? Cause I ain't seen him yet. Matter of fact, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him? When I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. It's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I'll make sure I double back with you. You assigned to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga. Try cease and desist on a like that record. Oh, what? You ain't like that record? Back to back. I like that record. I'ma get back to that for the record. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all thinking my life is rap? That's whole shit. I got a son to raise, but I can see you don't know nothing about that. Waking them up, know nothing about that. Then tell them to pray, know nothing about that. Then giving them tools to walk through life like day by day, know nothing about that. Teaching them morals, integrity, discipline. Listen, man, you don't know nothing about that. Speaking the truth and consider what God's considering. You don't know nothing about that. Ain't 20v1, it's 1v20. If I gotta smack niggas that right with you, yeah, bring them out too. I clean them out too. Tell Bean that he better stay right with you. Am I battling ghosts or AI? Nigga feeling like Joel Austin. Funny he was in a film called AI. Am I 6'6" telling me to off him? I'm a blick niggas all in the coffin. Yeah, OB-ho niggas is dick riders. Tell them run to America to imitate heritage. They can't imitate this violence. What I learned is niggas don't like the West Coast, and I'm fine with it. I'll push the line with it. Pick a nigga off one at a time with it. We can be on a 3-hour time difference. Don't speak on the family, Crody. It can get deep in the family, Crody. Talk about me and my family, Crody. Someone go bleed in your family, Crody. I be a New Hog King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and a blammy, Crody. Tell me your cheese and farm. We can do this right now on the camera, Crody. Hey, fuck y'all niggas, I don't trust y'all niggas. I wave one finger and thump y'all niggas like, field goal punch y'all niggas, they punk y'all niggas. Nobody never took my food. Whoever that's fucking with them, fuck you niggas and fuck the industry too. If you take it there, I'm taking it further. Psst, that's something you don't wanna do. Ooh. We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more. We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more. Stop.
Now that we all listen to the song with fresh ears, we listen to it one more time with the lyrics to refresh on our brain. Let's get into breaking down the song because it's strong. Let's get into breaking down this song because this is a song with many layers to peel back. The one thing that I appreciate about Kendrick throughout this back and forth is that he was very strategic, he was very methodical, he was very structured, he was very detail orientated in the outputs that he gave us. From the sense of like a lot of the songs had layers, like even this song about to break down, it was like a playground of double entendre. Like there's so many double entendres on top of double entendres that it's mind blowing. For those of you who don't know what double entendres is, it's like when a phrase or meaning a lyric has more than one meaning. So it can mean one thing on the surface, but below that surface, it also has a different meaning that is also true. And artists do that a lot. Jay-Z, Lupe Fiasco, whatever the case may be. And Kendrick is doing that in this song and other songs as well. And so the reason why I appreciated that, because that tells me that Kendrick pays attention a lot to what's going on around the world and what's going on within his peers. Like even with this song specifically, he responds to specific lyrics that Drake has said on songs, whether it was diss songs between his back and forth or whether there were other songs and stuff like that. He responds directly to specific lyrics. He mentions specific songs. He mentions pop cultural references. He just does a lot of things that says, okay, he was kind of like sitting back and waiting for this because he had a plan. And we see with this song, a song that came after this, that he really did have a plan. So I really did appreciate that Kendrick did take his time and thinking out strategically how he was going to approach this back and forth. Speaking of layers and different things like that, like before we even get into the lyric breakdown, there's layers even within the song title. Like we haven't even started getting into the lyrics, and there's already layers to peel back from the song's title. Obviously, we see here, and you see from the title, and you see because you listen to the song already, the song is titled Euphoria. One of the layers there is that ties directly into Drake, and it also ties into an angle that Kendrick took with this back and forth. And that is confirmed from stuff that was discussed in songs that follow this, such as Beat the Grams and the hit record Not Like Us. The song title Euphoria ties into a show in which Drake is at the helm of. And I want to bring up this HBO page because I don't want y'all to be saying that I'm biased and how I'm giving a synopsis to a show that helps push my agenda of Kendrick being very methodical. So I'm just going to let y'all see it for yourself. So y'all see here on the screen, we have the show Euphoria. Y'all see here that we are on the HBO official website. Again, this is a show that is very critically acclaimed, and it is a award winner. Like I said right here, it's a winner of 9 Emmys. I'm going to read the description to y'all because I want y'all to piece together this description, the title of the song, and the things that were disclosed from Kendrick about Drake throughout this battle. So the description of the show goes, Euphoria follows a group of high school students as they navigate love and friendships in a world of drugs, sex, trauma, and social media. The series is executive produced by Drake along with his manager, Future the Prince. So I want y'all to take that into account, what the show was about. I emphasize the words drugs, sex, trauma, and social media for a specific reason. That will be, disclosed in other songs that was released by Kendrick between his back and forth, or also this song as well. So I want y'all to take that into account, what the show is about, and also take into account that Drake was at the helm of the show. And so that's one angle of him naming this song Euphoria. Another angle is just the definition in itself. We see here the cover art is literally the definition of euphoria. The definition of euphoria, and now a feeling of well-being or elation. Then we have 2 examples of those words, or that word being used in sentences. The first one here being, apparently it is the change in mood, the feeling of euphoria, and reduced anxiety that prompts people to start using this dangerous drug. The second example, they had almost 1 week to recover from the euphoria of Tuesday's series-winning victory. So take that definition, you take these examples, and you can tie that into, again, y'all watching this video in hindsight, like the battle's already over, Drake waved the white flag, there's no more back and forth on trading records. So the second example, or the second sentence is very interesting because they had almost a week to recover from the Euphoria Tuesday series winning victory. Kendrick released his song on Tuesday. This song, as I said at the top of the video, was a response to the song Push-Ups. So he released the song on Tuesday, and a week from now, not exactly a week, but a week from now, we get the song Not Like Us. So essentially Kendrick was saying that, like, I basically playing a prophet, and he does that a lot in his back and forth. You're going to see in this song and see other songs as well, is that he kind of predicted how this battle will go, and he warned his opponent, Drake, that he knew how this battle was going to go. So he's saying that he almost had a week to recover. Like, I released one song, and I told you that I was going to, I don't really want to, because we're going to go on the lyric breakdown, but essentially I released one song, I told you the angles that I can go, and if you choose one way, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions. And so that's one thing to play into it. Another thing, the definition within itself, I believe that to be a double entendre or a double meaning or whatever the case may be, because it can apply to both artists. On Kendrick's side, a feeling of well-being and elation, I believe Kendrick to be elated that he had been chosen to step into the plate to address Drake. We learn later in the song that, he take on a point of, like, I'm doing this for the culture. We seen Drake be in an active back and forth twice in his career. And despite being, those having 2 different outcomes, he's never really scathed from those back and forths. Obviously, the first back and forth was with him and Meek Mill. He came out the victor on that, just completely obliterated Meek Mill, that years later gave Meek Mill a hit record, which I believe that to be ironic. And then the second one is obviously him and Pusha T. I believe, well, the world believed that Pusha T came out the victor in that back and forth. However, because Pusha T is not that big of an artist, he don't have that big of a notoriety that Drake does, it didn't really scathe him too much that he lost that, because the majority of Drake fans worldwide don't know who Pusha T is, because Pusha T is really a great lyricist, someone who really takes time to craft, well thought out projects, well quality driven, great quality projects. And so when you have artists like that, a lot of the time they don't have, the biggest fan base or have the biggest notoriety or things like that. And so I believe Kendrick to be in the Euphoria state, because it's like, we've tried this twice, and now you're finally finding someone who could actually dent his armor, because I may not be bigger than him, but at least I am a big enough artist where people are going to pay attention to see what's going on. So I am elated that I was the one that's chosen for the culture to step up to the plate and handle the situation. So watch me show y'all what I can do. On the other side, how this definition of euphoria applies to Drake, I believe this to be something that ties into things that are discussed in the song, is that you are this big artist, you have attained a status through your commercial success that in your head you believe yourself to be above others. So this goes into, this feelings of well-being or elated. Like, Drake is elated because he doesn't really have any peers, and he sees himself as a mountain on top of the mountaintop, and everybody else is beneath him. And so Kendrick is saying that, that's just a state that you're in. That's not like an actual thing. That's not actual reality, because the actual reality is, I'm better than you. I'm a better rapper than you. I may not have a larger commercial success than you do, but at the end of the day, if we're ranking the top rappers, I'm ahead of you. And so that's what I believe that to be addressing Drake on that sense, is like, he's in a sense, or he's in a state of euphoria because of all the thing that fame has afforded him. So that is very interesting, just before we even get into the song, that we're already breaking things down, such as the song title. And then when we get into the song, we discover that it's the hidden message, something that Kendrick has not shied away from, most notably on his critically acclaimed album, Damn. We learned after this release that the album could be played front to back or back to forth and still be very cohesive. And so when that was discovered, fans was like, oh, I think that this album was also meant to be listened from the last track to the first track, rather than just going through first track, last track. And so when fans speculated that this became a thing, within media, and then it was later confirmed by the TDE camp when they released a collector's edition of the album with a track listing being the opposite of the original album. So it was confirmed that. But not only that, within the album, there were certain songs that revealed hidden messages. There was reverse messages that when you play them forward, they revealed certain things that were related to the song that they were on. I believe one of the most notable songs, or one of my favorite songs, was the song Fear. It had a reverse message, and when you play that reverse message forward, it revealed something. So Kendrick starts off this song with that same approach. There's a hidden message within this song, and it reveals something that is very important. Also, when we're speaking about the prophetic, I'm telling y'all the angle in which I want to go. And so I'm going to play this clip for y'all so y'all can see what that reverse message at the top of the song reveals.
Euphoria. Everything they say about me is true. Euphoria.
So everything they say about me is true. That is a clip, as y'all see here on my screen, or an excerpt from the movie Oz. This is very important to note, because the angle in which Kendrick took in terms of pointing out the cultural differences, he tells us where he is going with this. Like, for those of you who don't know what Oz is, because it's a staple in the Black community, and it's really a staple in generations above me. I've seen it, but I know that, like, my parents and their aunts and uncles and their parents and so on and so forth, this is something that's very near and dear to their heart. The reason why I say this is because this is kind of like the Black version of the classic film Wizard of Oz. This is the first time probably mainstream to where we finally took something from the colonizers and made it our own, and it been commercially accepted and successful. The odds is really before my time, so I don't really know it was commercially successful in the sense of like sales and what it did in movie theaters and things like that. But I do know that it's a staple amongst Black families and Black culture. And so that's very important when you think about the Kendrick pinpointed differences between them culturally and him starting off the song with that excerpt. Everything they say about me is true, and Kendrick is pointing him out to be what is revealed in this clip.
Everything they say about me is true. I'm a phony.
Everything they say about me is true. I'm a phony. And he doubled downs on that with the lyrics that follows after that. It's like, you're a rapper from Canada. Again, you were introduced to the world as an actor. You later turned into a rapper that was rapping about certain things, portraying himself to be in a certain light. And then there was a complete 180, and now you're this gangster that, like, you kind of just, like, washed away who was introduced to us X amount of years ago. And so Kendrick was like, I'm just going to dig into that angle. I'm going to dig into you personally, pause, because I want to pinpoint whenever that change was, but also want to pinpoint what's wrong here. Like, you're portraying yourself to be someone you're not. You're portraying yourself to be someone who was not introduced to us the way that you are acting or carrying yourself out to be now. So as we get into the song, obviously I just played that reverse message and what that reveals. Everything they say about me is true. I'm a phony. You can play that back. You can play that back into the definition of euphoria, as I still have here on my screen. As we get into the lyrics, and the superpowers are getting neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. Like I said, Drake was introduced to the world as an actor on the show Degrassi, and so he was very recognizable or very notable from that show, and that is what he was introduced to the media entertainment world is as an actor. And Kendrick is saying that, you know, you had the superpowers he refers to was that, you know, this state of being this larger than life artist is getting neutralized. Like, people is turning on you, people in your camp is disclosing things about you to other people, and it's just look like everything is falling apart around you. And I'm just sitting back watching, like, I kind of predicted that this was eventually going to happen. The famous actor we once knew was looking paranoid and now spiraling. The looking paranoid is a tie. This is why I say that Kendrick pays attention to what's going on social media. Kendrick released that verse on Like That. It caused this whirlwind of people like, oh my gosh, he's finally calling them out by name. And so what that prompted is a bunch of fans saying, okay, well, what are you going to do, Drake? What are you going to do, Drake? And so following the release of that song, Drake made a couple public appearances to where paparazzi call him in not the best light. And what I mean by not the best light, he looked very stressed in those pictures. If you don't believe me, you can go look up Drake after the release of Like That, and you're going to see like pictures of him in the club, pictures of him leaving the club to where he just doesn't look like himself. So when Kendrick says that the famous actor we once knew was looking paranoid and now spiraling, that's him just not being in the correct mind state. Like, he's in a frenzy because of what the ruckus this verse Like That has caused. You're moving like a degenerate. Every acting is feeling distasteful. I calculate. You're not as calculated. I can even predict your angle. Fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale, pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist. You're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. We're not even going to get into that right now because that's going to go into another lyric. But let's get back into this, what I said about Kendrick saying that I know the angles you're going to take, and it's not something that is new. I've saw you in battles twice, and you repeated in each battle the same thing. So I'm kind of predicting that you're going to do the same thing here. And what those things are is mentioning wives. Drake has his history, and this is going back into the cultural thing. Like, if you are from a certain place or you're from a certain neighborhood, you know you don't mention people's wives or families. Like, that's just something that's just off limit. And if you do that, you have to be ready to stand on all that you were saying or all that you were doing. And so this I calculate not as calculated, I can even predict your angle. The first time Drake got in trouble mentioning somebody's wife. Didn't mention her by name, but you mentioned or referenced my wife, was with Kobe. On the verse Stay Scheming, the famous You Wasn't With Me shooting in the gym. Prior to that verse, I believe he had a relationship with the Bryant family. He made that verse and it rubbed Kobe's wife the wrong way. So obviously that relationship with that family is deteriorated. Kobe disses stuff from Drake. Drake later apologized, but it doesn't seem like that relationship was ever mended from, him from that verse until the time that Kobe unfortunately passed away. That relationship was never mended. So that's the first time he mentioned somebody's wife. The second time, obviously in the back and forth for him and Meek Mill. This is kind of different, so I don't really put that on him, but it still falls under the same category. He mentioned Nicki Minaj in his beef with Meek Mill, but we know that Drake to be a friend and label mate of Nicki Minaj, so I don't think that is as big of a deal when you personally know somebody's significant other. The third time, which we thought was going to be the last time because the result of that and the consequences of that, it was something that Drake was just not prepared for and honestly just wiped him out. He mentioned Pusha T's wife by name, Virginia Williams. And Pusha T did not take a liking to that. And we got the song story added on and we never got a response to the story of added on. So obviously that was a mistake that Drake made. And then he made another mistake here. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, for me to be as transparent as possible and not be biased, I did not take Drake saying the verse on push-ups, be with a bodyguard like Whitney, as anything as poking or, kind of like poking fun or playing on Kendrick's wife's name, Whitney. I thought that with me being a film buff, me being a fan of movies, I understand that Whitney Houston was in a movie, The Bodyguard. And so when Drake says a line like, I'll be with a bodyguard like Whitney, I think it's just a play on Whitney Houston. However, what I've learned is around the same time that the song released, there was this rumor or false story going around that Kendrick's wife had something going on with one of his bodyguards, which is weird that Drake really pinpointed and tried to go that angle. But that is what the internet believed why he said, I'll be with a bodyguard like Whitney. He wanted to play on, that's a double entendre. He wanted to play on the film and Whitney Houston, but also poke fun at this rumor that's going around with Kendrick and his wife. And so that's why that next line is fabricating stories on the family front. It's like, you're fabricating stories about my family because you're trying to take away or you're trying to cause a distraction for what I have in the can for you. And so fabricating on the family front, because you're Mr. Morale, obviously Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is Kendrick's last offering. That last offering being one of his most vulnerable projects yet, and it revealed a lot about things he's going through as a man, traumas he's experienced, also, the healing process, and things that he's trying to get rid of. But within that same album, he also discusses some of the traumas that his family members have experienced. And so that is a very vulnerable album that reveals a lot about Kendrick as a man. And so Kendrick is saying that, I know that my last offering to the world was something that, revealed a lot of personal things. And so I understand that you're going to try to take some of those things and really flip that to the best to create certain narratives. That's why I say calculate, not a calculate. I can even predict your angle. Fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Mr. Morale. I'm going to skip that because we just got that. But you're not a rap artist. You're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU had never been in your collection. You're not a rap artist. You're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. This is going back and tying into that thing where I was speaking about culture. For those of you who don't know, Tommy Hilfiger was a very popular brand back in the 90s and early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Cold-blooded black people just stopped messing with Tommy Hilfiger. Now, mind you, Tommy Hilfiger was a staple within our community back then. However, there was this rumor going around, you can see here, Tommy Hilfiger fashion not intended for minorities. There's this rumor going around that Tommy Hilfiger had appeared on the Oprah show and said that his fashion was not intended for minorities. And so that rumor spread quick like wildfire. And this is before the day and age of people really being active on the internet in terms of social uses. But also, this is way before social media. And so this rumor spread within the Black community, and we all stopped wearing Tommy Hilfiger. I remember my mom, telling me my brother about that rumor. But I'm saying rumor, but back then, Black people were running with the story as if it was true. And so we had to stop wearing Tommy Hilfiger because he was racist. And so when Kendrick says that, Tommy Hilfiger has stood out, but FUBU was never your collection, he's tying into that cultural thing. You don't really connect or relate to us. We have Tommy Hilfiger, who is for the racist, rumored to be for the racist. And then we have, on the other spectrum, FUBU, for us, by us, a brand owned by Black people, a van that's backed by the hip-hop community, a staple within the Black communities all around the world. That was never something that you had interest in. And someone who posed in blackface back in the day, I can understand why you would align with a clothing brand such as Tommy Hilfiger when they are believed to have racist views, because you don't really relate to us as Black people. We see here on this picture here, this is Drake posing in blackface at a younger age. This is going back into that, Tommy Hilfiger stood out. Like, quote unquote Black man posing with blackface tells me a lot about who you are and your character. He even, doubled down on what he's doing in this picture. Obviously, he's posing with blackface, but he has a Jim Crow shirt and sweater on in this picture. So that tells y'all, like, kind of like where Drake was at this point in life, that he didn't really connect too much with the Black community. I don't think anyone of his skin color who identified as Black would believe that to be okay. So it was very interesting that Kendrick really took that point to really point this out. And this is why I say he was very strategic and very detail orientated. It's a simple bar that's Tommy Hilfiger has stood out because I know your history, I know your past, but I also know you. But FUBU had never been your collection. I really brought up this article because I really wanted y'all can see and how it was debunked. So essentially going back into how Tommy Hilfiger thing happened, it was rumored that it happened on Oprah. If you have any older Black women in your life, majority of the Black women in my family, big fans of the Oprah show. They've probably seen every single episode. And so the rumor was that he went on the Oprah show and said that. However, no one ever found the episode. No one has never seen the episode. But if you ask a Black person around that age, they would tell you that it happened. Ironically, they would tell you that it happened, but they seen every episode but that one. Anyways, Oprah brought him back on the show later on. They disclosed that, this is our first time meeting. I've never spoken to or seen this person before. So for there to be a rumor that I came on the show and said that is just utterly false. And so as we go further on to the lyrics with that, cultural reference of, Tommy Hilfiger have stood out for whatever collection. I make music that electrify them. You make music that pacify them. I can double down on the line, but spare you this time. That's random acts of kindness. There's a lot of meanings within that, and we learn that as this beat goes on and certain things that Kendrick reveals. But on the surface, essentially, I make music that make the people move, something that they can groove to, something they can relate to, something that makes them want to get out and do things like go on marches to address injustices around the world. Like I said that point earlier about, people chanting the song during marches. Like, that's music that electrify them. You make music that pacify them. This is a tie into the dealings that Drake have with younger women. Obviously, during this beef, a lot of stuff has come out. There's videos of Drake as a full-on adult, kissing and complimenting a 17-year-old girl on stage. his history with the 14-year-old actor Millie Bobby Brown. There's a lot of stuff that was revealed that, had been public before, but a lot of people really didn't pay attention to. And so, I make music that electrify them, you make music that pacify them. That ties into just Drake just appealing to a younger artist, but also just Drake and the music that he's made not really having that sense of relatability or closeness or vulnerability with his fans. I can double down on that line. He ended up double down on that line and making a hit record out of that. If you haven't heard Not Like Us yet, please go listen to Not Like Us. Know you're a massive manipulator and habitual liar too, but don't tell a lie about me and I won't tell the truth about you. This line here is a callback to The Heart Part 4. Kendrick melodically sings, don't tell a lie about me, I won't tell the truth about you. I don't know if he was referring to Drake on that song or if there was just a general statement that he made, but it's interesting that he mentions that here in the song because he has another lyric later in the song that ties back into The Heart Part 4 as well. Yeah, I'm out the way, I'm low, okay. Yeah, the island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. So Kendrick is consistently telling us throughout this back and forth that, like, man, I enjoy my life. I enjoy what this fame has afforded me. I'm enjoying what my art has afforded me. And so y'all don't see me too much because I'm just enjoying life. Like, I'm out the way, I'm on an island, I'm chilling with my family, I'm chilling with friends. I don't have any intention of being a readily available artist. Like, these are the things that I like. And then, I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga, I'm reaping what I sow. Okay, like, I don't care about death. I don't care about nobody who's claiming to be able to off me in terms of rap sets or referring to Drake. I don't care about what you think that you're going to be able to do with me because I'm reaping what I sow. Like, I'm reaping the benefits of my hard work and my labor. That's the reason why I'm never really readily accessible. That's the reason why I take breaks in between my projects. I'm reaping what I sow. And even that has a double meaning because I think about a reaper, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. That can also mean in that, going back into me telling y'all about this song being titled Euphoria and that feeling of well-being in a relation and Kendrick stepping up to the plate, this is him reaping what I sow. Like, I am at the top of the game. I believe myself to be the best rapper. And so reaping what I sow is essentially like, if I'm of that stature, if I'm claiming to be that, then I have to stand on that. And when I'm called to battle, I have to show y'all what I can do. So that's me reaping what I sow. What I sow is ensuring and showing y'all that nobody can mess with me. Got a Benjamin and Jackson in my house like I'm Joe, okay? That line is very interesting because Drake and Kendrick have been going back and forth with this Michael Jackson and Prince reference. Back and forth. I'm Prince. I'm a Michael. Well, if you Michael, I'm Prince, and so on and so forth. And so how this started is Drake has taken a stance of comparing himself to Michael Jackson, obviously because of his commercial success, obviously because of him passing or breaking a lot of Michael Jackson previously held, records in terms of, record sales and things like that and chart positions. And so he has taken the stance of likening himself to Michael Jackson, who's obviously probably one of the biggest pop stars ever. Drake is saying, well, I'm the biggest rap star ever, so I'm liking myself to the only person I feel like who has attained the status. And so they keep going back and forth to Mike Prince. This is Kendrick saying, I'm not going back and forth no more. If you're Michael Jackson, then I'm his father, Joe Jackson. So when he says I got a Benjamin and a Jackson in my house, like I'm Joe, okay? I grew up in a time to where this movie, actually, let me Google. There was a movie that played on VH1 a lot when I was young called The Jackson's American Dream. The Jackson's American Dream essentially was like a movie that detailed the Jackson, obviously Jackson 5 and their parents, their come up from, Gary, Indiana to stardom. In this movie, we learn a lot about them as children and, their upbringing as well. One of the pivotal things in the beginning of the movie is Michael Jackson and this friend of a pet that he has. That pet, going back into the lyrics, name is Ben. The pet is a rat. The tie into that is that in the 70s, actually I have this pulled up as well. In the 70s, Michael Jackson's second solo release album was called Ben. That album title is a dedication to his pet. Prior to release of this album, Michael Jackson had a single called Ben, which was featured on a soundtrack for a movie, you guessed it, titled Ben. The movie Ben is about a pet rat named Ben. And so you hear this reference to Michael Jackson's on a soundtrack for a movie called Ben. He had a song called Ben. His second solo album is called Ben. This is all in dedication to his rat. The only reason why I brought up this movie is because that's how I know about it. Obviously, I'm not old enough to have seen the Jacksons come up. In fact, my parents is not even old enough to really see the early stages of the Jacksons come up. Obviously, they grew up with them and things like that, but you know, they just see the Jacksons from the beginning. And so I had to bring up that movie to show y'all the reference of how I know about the pet rat, and how I know about how that ties into Michael Jackson's second album. But it's very important that y'all remember that he has a pet named Ben, and then obviously the home is a home full of Jackson. So when he said I got a Benjamin and a Jackson in my house, like I'm Joe, okay? It's like, okay, if you Michael Jackson and you gonna stand firm on being Michael Jackson, then I'm your father. I'm Joe Jackson. I got a rat and I got Lil Mike in my house. All for the Hellcat, make his homeboys new. I don't know what the hell this lyric mean. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've been trying to figure that out. I don't know. Hellcat made his homeboys and them type stuff. So okay, that actually might just be the wrong lyric as well, but whatever. Everybody want to be a demon so they get chipped by a throwaway, and I might do a show they once a lame, always a lame. Or you thought the money and power of fame would make you go away. That's in the reference to Drake portraying himself to be something he's not. Kendrick is saying that we know who you are, we know your origins, we know you're just a lame kid who came up on the show, this lame kid, and not to speak bad about y'all who wear glasses, but he just claimed this lame kid who, you know, had bifocals, curly hair. You just look like an awkward, just weird, lame kid. And so you thought that because you've attained the status that, you know, all that would be erased, and it's not being erased. And I'm going to show you why it's not being erased, because I'm going to pick you apart with each song, and in this specific song, each line. Have you ever played? Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. So that's Kendrick saying, like, all right, like, let's play. Like, we've been going back and forth for so long. I've been called to the plate to do my stuff. Okay, nigga, let's play. Like, I'm ready to play ball. Let's do this. So have you ever, okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever walked your enemy down with a poker face? Have you ever paid $500,000 to an open case? Well, I have, and I fell out both, but I came out straight. Now, this is not a snitch podcast, but I feel like Kendrick has potentially killed somebody or shot somebody, injured somebody, because he keeps mentioning this thing about killing or potentially or have killed somebody. If you've been around since like day one and you remember the overly dedicated, you know, he has a song Average Joe where he says the lyric, you know, I got shot, got jacked, shot out, shot back. I don't want to push a line, I'm just trying to push these rhymes. If this page will load, well, I don't need the page to load because I just said the lyrics in itself. But essentially, that's what he says on the song. You know, I got shot at, shot back. I don't want to push a line, I'm just trying to push these line right here. Oh, got jumped, got jacked, shot at, shot back, and I don't even push a line, I'm just trying to push these rhymes. And the Mr. Stan Mutual and the Screamer, I'm going to say you judge by the company you keep. So that was one of the, it's not probably not even a first reference because you can go back even further than that. So like some of the unreleased stuff when he was K-Dot, he mentioned some of this as well. But I'm just going to like some of the well-known songs from Kendrick Lamar. So we have Average Joe. Moving on from Average Joe, we have Mad City where he said, you know, if I told you I killed somebody, would you believe me to be still the same innocent Kendrick? And I may have skipped over that verse as I'm trying to find it here. That's MC8. Oh, right here. You know, if I told you I killed a nigga at 16, would you believe me? Or perceive me to be an innocent Kendrick to see in the street? So that's another reference into him potentially killing somebody. Another notable reference is on the Deep Water, which was on Dr. Dre's album Compton, where he said, "Once upon a time I shot a nigga on accident." I don't know how you shoot a nigga on accident, but it's just like constant references in terms of Kendrick saying that. And it's blah 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 blah. Where is that? Oh, that was not appearing out. Blah 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 blah. I'm trying to pick them all, big dog. Oh, here we go. Once upon a time I shot a nigga on accident. I tried to kill him, but I guess I needed more practicing. So that's another reference. And then we have even more references here on this Mike Will made it. And y'all forgive me because I forget where this part is at in this song, where he says it. Oh, right here. All right, we're straight to it. I shot a nigga once, I do that shit again. So Kendrick keeps like referencing that he may have potentially shot and or killed somebody. And so when he's telling Drake, like, okay, nigga, let's play, like, okay, we're playing. You're the tough guy. Tell us what you've done. Tell us what's on your jacket, because this is what's on my jacket. Like, I've potentially shot or walked down on somebody, potentially killed him. What have you done? Like, do these things exist even in a neighborhood that you was raised in? Does this stuff even exist in your community? Because you want to continue to play this back and forth and you want to be this tough guy. Well, I'm going to show you the things that I've been through, the things that happened within my community and within my neighborhood. So I really like that, okay, like, nigga, let's stop playing. Okay, let's really get to the bottom of this. Have you walked Emily down with a poker face while having her play like both. There's also this line here, have you paid $500 to open case? Not really a standout line, but the reason why I'm highlighting this is because I like that Kendrick raps about things that are true. We are in a day and age for a lot of time to where rappers aren't really living what they're rapping about. And so I mentioned earlier that Don't Tell Lie About Me was a reference to the Hard Part 4. This was a second reference to the Hard Part 4. And so in Hard Part 4, he has this lyric where he says, "You're looking at me in chucks, I'm looking at y'all law, and y'all looking at me in chucks, I'm looking at y'all suits. Me and Top Dog playing rock, paper, scissors in the court. Real hustle, lose some money, just go get some more." Top Dog followed up on Instagram and confirmed that lyric was actually true. You see here, real shit, me and K-Dot playing rock, paper, scissors in court. And this is them playing rock, paper, scissors in court. Kendrick taking the popular scissors. I can't see what Top Dog took because his hand is covered or his hand is blocked by his torso. But this is going back into, me liking rappers really being what they're saying about. And I think Kendrick put that lyric there to show that, like, this is like real stuff. This is stuff that's really going on in my life. I'm not portraying to be a certain thing. And this is like what's really happening around me. And so he says, like, have you ever paid $500,000 to open case? I don't know if it to be that specific case that I just showed y'all and tying back into that lyric, but I don't think that it's too far off to think that that's what he's referring to, because you have the tie to the Heart Part 4 at the top of the song, and then a couple bars later, you have another tie to the Heart Part 4 with the have you ever paid $500,000 to open case. That could be the case that he's referring to when he says that, have you ever paid $500,000 to open case? Well, I have, and I feel that both of that came on straight. I hate when the rapper talk about guns, somebody died, they turn to nuns, I hop online like pray for my city, he faking for likes and digital hugs. When I tell y'all, Kendrick is very well thought out. He pays attention to things that are going on the internet. This is that confirmation. There are two things that I'm about to show y'all right now that is a direct reference to things that Drake has done online that totally contradicts this tough guy, shooter, gang member, mob tie guys that he consistently portrays himself to be. The first one being there was a young rapper killed in Toronto named Smoke Dogg, and Drake shared this message on his Instagram stories. All these gifts and blessed souls and inner lights being extinguished lately is devastating. I wish peace will wash over our city. So much talent and so much stories we never get to see play out. Rest up, Smoke. And rest in peace to Smoke Dogg, and condolences to his family as well. I don't want to just be using him like as a pawn, but I really just want to show you all just how methodical Kendrick is in this back and forth. The second thing I want to show y'all is his video, which Drake is featured in, it's a short story called Remember Me Toronto. essentially, this video is a short film discussing the violence within Toronto, and I'm not going to speak on it. I'm going to let y'all see for yourself, just in terms of what this specific video is about.
But in a lot of the situations in the city passed down by elders, people don't even know about them. People don't even know the logistics of the beef or why or what really happened. It's just, I'm conditioned to hate this area or this group of people.
So obviously that tells you that Kendrick is paying attention to what's going on. There is no coincidence that those two things exist online, and you have this verse or these bars that says, I hate when a rapper talk about guns and somebody died, they turn into nuns. And then you have proof of the person you going up against essentially taking on this form of being a nun. As it was like, what's going on in our city, the tragedies and the violence that's happening in our cities is not something that's normal. It's very abnormal, and I'm like not okay with it. And I'm praying for our city, and I'm praying for peace and certain things like that. Kendrick is really driving a knife into the soul of Drake, like showing us like this is who this man is. He's, for the past couple of years, he's been portraying himself to be something that he's not. I'm going to show y'all the differences between not only us, but the differences between who he really is and who he's portraying to be. He's an actor, and he's still essentially in character and portraying himself to be this tough guy. The turn to nuns, I want to say he's faking for like a digital cuz. His daddy, a killer, he wanted to be a junior. They must have forgot the shit that they done. So I believe this to be a double entendre. I think that this relates to both Lil Wayne and also J. Prince Jr. For those of you who don't know, Drake was signed to Young Money, Cash Money. How he even got introduced to Lil Wayne was J. Prince Jr., obviously the son of J. Prince Sr., a very pivotal force in Southern hip hop, well, specifically within Houston as well. The reason why I bring this up and the reason why I think that this relates to both of them, we know Lil Wayne, one of Lil Wayne monikers is Birdman Jr. We know we got the album Like Father Like Son. He sees Birdman as a father figure. So he took on the moniker of Birdman Jr. as a respect to someone he sees as a father figure. So this is Kendrick saying that essentially Birdman is a killer and Drake is portraying himself to be Lil Wayne. He want to be Lil Wayne. He want to be, we know how the world perceives Lil Wayne. We know the gang ties, quote unquote, that Lil Wayne is perceived to have. And so he's saying that Drake has gotten so close to them that he even wanted to be Lil Wayne so that he can be, quote unquote, Birdman Jr. On the other side, the person who introduced Drake to Lil Wayne was J. Prince Jr. I'm not going to implicate anybody in any wrongdoings, just like I didn't do with Kendrick, but I essentially see him likening J. Prince to be perceived as a killer and saying that Drake wants to be J. Prince Jr. because of how close he's grown to J. Prince, and also him looking at J. Prince somewhat of a father figure, someone who he has quote unquote mob ties with. So that was a very good flip, something that also has a double entendre that you really wouldn't know and think that is really just a bar about Drake and his actual father, but I don't believe that to be just a bar about his actual father. I'm not going to break down this next bar because I don't want to get flagged for like hate speech or to be talking down upon people with disabilities or anything like that. So I'm not going to thoroughly address it. But if you don't know what Parkinson's is, please, please, please go Google Parkinson's as you are watching this video. The mention was running his family, but let it get shaky, I'll park his son. That I'll park his son is a play on the word Parkinson's. Again, if you know what Parkinson's is, please go Google it. You will understand why that bar is so hard. Shout out to Kendrick for that, because that was very first hard. Very first hard. That was very hard. The next bar. The very first time I shot me and Drake, the homie had told me to aim it the way I didn't point down enough. Today I showed you I learned from those mistakes. Again, I told you all this is a double entendre playground. He just keeps layering on, layering on, layering on. If you don't know anything about guns as you're watching this video, I'm going to tell y'all that a lot of guns have kickbacks. What a kickback is, when you shoot a gun pops up because of all of the power, all the torque within the release of a trigger of a gun. So I could be pointing a gun at something straight on, and I'm going to miss that target because of the kickback. So a lot of times, especially like with pistols and things like that, you have to account for that kickback. So if you're trying to hit something that's right here, you can't aim straight on. You got to point that barrel down a little bit so you can hit your target. So the reason why I bring up guns, because that's what a Drake is, short for a Draco. A Draco is a gun. We also know that Drake is the name of the artist in which Kendrick is going against. I spoke to y'all earlier about the fact that Kendrick and Drake has been in this long back and forth of sending subliminal shots. And so when he says the very first time I shot me at Drake, the homie had told me it was way I didn't point down enough. Today I showed you I learned from those mistakes. It plays on Drake, the artist, and Drake, the gun. I told you all about the thing with kickbacks. He confirmed that with the next couple bars. I didn't point down enough. Today I showed you that. Today I'll show you I learned from those mistakes. So now I'm pointing down. I learned from that. But also how it plays into Drake is that Drake and Kendrick has been going back and forth with subliminal shots for so much time that I believe this bar to be Kendrick saying that I made a lot of mistakes from either shooting up or shooting straight on, which I shouldn't have been done, or which shouldn't have been done throughout this whole time, should have been pointed down. The reason why I say either shooting up or pointing straight on is because, again, we know Drake, out of these two, Drake is a bigger commercially successful artist. I don't believe Drake to be the best artist out of the two, but he's for sure the most commercially successful between the two of them in terms of his chart positions, in terms of the records he's breaking with record sales, in terms of the units he moved when he released the album. Like Drake does move the needle a lot more than the average artist, with Kendrick even being considered within that average artist, even though he's not an average artist. But even with Kendrick being considered in that category, Drake moves the needle more than Kendrick. So we take that into account, that if you think about that, Kendrick may have been pointing that gun up, trying to aim at his target because of this status that Drake has acquired. The reason why I say it could have been looking at him straight on, because Kendrick sees Drake and J. Cole as his peers. And so the entire time they were shooting at each other, shooting the subliminal shots, he was aiming head on, straight on at his peers, someone he sees eye to eye with. And so he said, right now, today I showed you I learned from those mistakes. I'm no longer aiming straight on my target because we're not peers. Throughout this lyrical exercise, I'm going to show you that I'm better than you. And to show you that I'm better than you, I'm not aiming straight on anymore because we're not on the same level. You're not on my plateau. I got to point that barrel down a little bit just to hit you. And so me releasing that verse, me releasing that song was me learning from those mistakes. I spent so many years aiming straight on and kept wondering why I was missing. But the minute I aimed down at you, when I said, motherfuck the big three is just big me, meaning that I'm at the top and the two of y'all beneath me, that was me aiming down. When I pointed that barrel down, I got a response out of you, which was obviously Drake's push-up. So that's like one of my favorite bars in the entire song, because I like how he played on Drake's, I don't want to say fetishes because that's crazy. Drake's obsessions with gun talk and flipping that on his name. Kendrick he did that very well. So shout out to him for doing that. Somebody had told me that you got a ring on God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. Drake has this obsession with collecting hip-hop memorabilia, and I don't mean obsession in a bad way, because if you got money and a lot of money, do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, who am I to tell somebody with money what to do? But the reason why I say it's obsession is because there's been multiple times where Drake has acquired hip-hop memorabilia. One of the most notable being Tupac's ring. And I'm going to pull this up on my screen right now so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So essentially, you see here the headline for this article: Drake buys the most valuable hip-hop artifact ever sold, Tupac Shakur's ring. That is a ring pictured here on this picture. This ring was a ring this was the last time Tupac was publicly seen at a public appearance, which was the 1996 VMA Awards. He was wearing this ring, so that's why that ring is so high value, because the last time he was seen publicly at a public event was the VMA Awards, and he was wearing this ring. So Drake bid it in an auction, and he essentially ended up winning this ring. So when you say somebody had told me that you got a ring, this is the ring that Kendrick was referring to. And then that next bar about, I pay whatever I gotta pay. If you pay $2 million, I pay $4 million to get that ring up off of you, because I hold Pop in such high regard, and you're lame. As I previously stated in the previous bars, you are lame, and you should not be in possession of a ring someone caliber like Tupac. And I don't know if Kendrick's seen this video, but this is something that honestly will make Tupac turn his grave. So essentially, Drake is appearing in this video at a strip club, and he's boasting that he's in a strip club with Tupac's ring. So Kendrick say, I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. This would definitely make Pac turn in his grave.
Live at Starless, you know what I'm saying? Grr. Side talk, though. You know what time it is, man. We're in here, man. I'm wearing Pac's ring. They got my baby mom on the wall over there. Get the gal them to come.
So he's in the strip club, and he's wearing Pac's ring. I don't know, man. It's very weird, but like I said, he has an obsession with hip-hop memorabilia, because I'm going to reveal something else later in this video. But as Kendrick just saying that, I hold this legend to a high regard, and I don't want you to be in possession of his stuff. Cutthroat business, you got shit twisted. Was it the braids? I hurt your feelings. You don't work on me no more. Okay. It's 3 ghosts left, and I seen 2 of them kissing and hugging on stage. It's 3 ghosts left. It's going back into that big 3 thing. We are the 3 ghosts. This is something that J. Cole said in that song, First Person Shooter. Kendrick is saying, it's 3 of us left, but I see 2 of y'all kissing and hugging on stage. Obviously, J. Cole accompanied Drake on his most recent tour. He did a couple of legs with him. And so this is Kendrick saying, I see y'all saying it's a big 3, but 2 of y'all kissing and hugging, and I'm not with that. I leveled them deaf in the 8 bars I explained that phrase. Earlier, I may have counted some of those bars wrong, but the reason why I was doing that count when it got to this point in the song is because of how he structured this. When I say that Kendrick was very methodical, this is point proven. I love him to death in 8 bars. I explain that phrase. You have, and I can't even say that these are filler lines, because nothing nobody can tell me. I don't want to talk on no celly. Don't call me. Now we're at it. Don't try to piece up nothing. I won't talk about nothing. You know I got language barriers. There's no accents you can sell me. We know Drake to be someone who takes on multiple accents. You have a Canadian accent. You have patois. You have Houston slang, you have Memphis slang and accent. This is somebody who is unfortunately a colonizer, a cultural vulture. And so that's what Kendrick is referring to. So these aren't filler bars. These are actual bars still referring to Drake. There's no I got language barriers, no accent you can sell me. You can't come over here and speak in, certain accents and trying to sell me on a hit record or certain things like that. Yeah, Cole and Aubrey, mentioning their names. Obviously, J. Cole, obviously Aubrey being Drake. I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. Y'all know that the crown is heavy, and I'm not sharing it with y'all. There's no big 3, it's just big me. Only I'm wearing this crown. Y'all are beneath me. The crown is heavy. I'm selfish, nigga. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YMW Melly. Now, I know a lot of my audience may not be up on a lot of the young rappers. Honestly, I perceive myself to be very young, and I'm not as well versed in these young rappers. But I do know this specific reference because I paid attention to it as it was developing. Essentially, YNW Melly was this artist from Florida who got arrested for allegedly unaliving his friends. So you see here, the article we have, YNW Melly is charged with the unalive of 2 friends. Florida rapper YNW Melly accused of unaliving 2 friends. So you see here, and you see all the stuff that is going on. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in YNW Melly video or car video, studio video, whatever it is. So the reason why I'm bringing this up because the backstory with YNW Melly is that he was essentially charged with the unaliving of two of his friends because what happened was he and three other friends was leaving the studio one night, and unfortunately, two of those friends who entered that car were later found unalived. And so him, obviously, and the other friend in that car are suspected of unaliving the other two who entered that car and didn't, exit alive. And so when Kendrick is saying that I pray them all were friends, if not on YNW Melly, that's him saying, okay, well, I gotta off y'all. And, all due respect to the families of those victims, I don't, mean to paint them in a negative light or anything like that. But that is where that reference is coming from. Kendrick saying that, 8 bars later, I explain that phrase. That phrase is, well, if you're not my friends, I'm YNW Melly. And y'all outcome is going to be the same as the two victims. I don't like you popping shit up for real for him. I inherited the beef. So this is him doubling down on saying that you're a weirdo, and essentially, I'm really taking on this calling of doing what I got to do to put you under the dirt. And that is what he's saying. He's saying that I have personal problems with you, and Pharrell, who was the most unproblematic person in the entire music industry, never had feud, never had beefs, never went back and forth for anybody. Seems like this is the person who made the song Happy. Drake has been essentially egging on and taunting this man for the past couple of years for a reason I don't know. The reason why I bring up Pharrell being unproblematic is because when you have somebody who was like that, who has had no conflict, and yet he's had a 30-year career, it tells you a lot about the person who is like constantly like egging them on and trying to beef with them, because it's like, why are you beefing with somebody who's been unproblematic for damn near for 3 decades? Like, look eternally and see what's going on with you. So it says, I don't like you popping shit up for real for him. I inherited the beef. You're just saying like, I'm already gonna off you, but I'm gonna do this for Pharrell as well. And what he mean by that, and what I mean by that, Drake taunting Pharrell is that he had this verse on Travis Scott's album last year where he said, man, fuck all that spending and heritage shit. I melt down the chain that I bought from your boss to give a fuck about all that heritage shit. This is a direct reference to Pharrell, but he's addressing Pusha T. Pusha T, who is just coming off a victory and this back and forth for Drake, and I'm going to get into that in the next bar as well. But Pusha T did the back and forth for Drake, and he came out the victor. But for whatever reason, Drake is still throwing shots at Pusha T as if that's something that he wants to relive again. It's very weird, but that is when he says, man, fuck all that boss. Obviously, we know that at one time, Pusha T and his brother was signed to Pharrell's Star Trek imprint. And so when he's referring to him as someone's boss, he's directly referring to Pusha T, and he's referring to the fact that he bought his chain. But we know this is the first of many lies with Drake and saying that, he melted down the chain, because he didn't melt down the chain. Because we learned later in the Family Matters video that he still has Pharrell chain. He has this random man flaunting Pharrell chain in the Family Matters video. And even before that video, we had Drake flaunting Pharrell's chain, and I believe there's the Jumbotron video. So he claims to have melted this chain, but we've seen it on 2 different occasions. One in the video that appeared before that verse, which was a Jumbotron shit, and then the second one is here in the Family Matters video, which was released very recently. And so we learned in this battle that Drake lies about a lot. And this was just really the first instance in things that he lied about. And so he says that, Kendrick is saying that, like, you keep on taunting and playing around with this man, he's never going to respond to you because that's not something he does. But on behalf of him, someone who I've collaborated with multiple times throughout my career, but also somebody who's just a good person, we learned, and y'all going to see in my next lyric breakdown, that Kendrick just really has a problem with Drake picking on good people. And I take that stance that Kendrick's taking in this bar as him sticking up for a good person who was not going to go out of his way to go back and forth with this childish rapper. So for him, I inherited the beef. Fuck all that pushing P. The next lyric, he said, fuck all that pushing P. Let's see you push a T. You better off spinning again on him. You think about pushing me. He's Terrence Stewart. I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. So, fuck all that pushing P. We know a couple years ago, one of the biggest records from Ghana was Pusha P. Unfortunately, Drake was not on that record. However, Drake has referenced that record recently. Most recently being on that album I was just mentioning. Was it Her Loss? Yeah, Her Loss, the album with 21 Savage. Actually, let me type this in here so I can find this. Here we go. I'm steady pushing P, you niggas pushing PTSD. So what I told you in the beginning of the video, that Kendrick pays attention to things that are going wrong in Drake's atmosphere. When I first heard that bar, I was like, oh, he got that wrong. Because the song Pushing P was on Gunna's album. However, Drake was on his album, but not on that song. Drake was on the song P Power. Now, those are two different P's. And maybe Kendrick is also referencing that. Maybe this was a double meaning as well. But Drake wasn't on the song Pushing P. It was Future and Young Thug that was on the song Pusha P. Drake was on that same album that the song Pusha P was on. He was on a song called P Power. Those are two different P's though. However, Drake later follows up and doubles down on that pushing P and said, I'm steady pushing T, you niggas pushing PTSD. And Kendrick is saying, you talking about you steady pushing P, let's see you push a T. So this is a direct reference to the bar before where he's talking about Pharrell, because Drake likened Pharrell to be quote unquote Pusha T's boss. You better off spinning again on him and think about pushing me. And he's Terrence Stewart, I'm Terrence Crawford, yeah, I'm whooping feet. So Kendrick is saying that the whole world seen you lose to Pusha T. We seen you tuck your tail in that battle, and we seen what that battle did to you publicly. And despite all that, I think you have a better chance trying him again than to be sitting here trying me, because you are not a formidable opponent for me. That is what I'm taking Kendrick is saying, is that, like, I know that he whooped your ass, but you better off going over there and going running the back fade than to come with me, because what I'm gonna do to you is gonna be way worse. And this is tying into what I was speaking to y'all about when we speak about the song title and the cover art. Like, this is tying directly into, like, I'm elated to have to step up to do that. And Kendrick is saying, like, this is gonna be way worse. Like, what Pusha T did to you was bad, but people are really not speaking about it because Pusha T is not of the status or the stature of a widely known artist as you are. However, I am. I have that commercial success. I have that notoriety. People know me around the world. And so I think you're better off going over there to where you can lose in peace, because when you lose to me, it's going to be on a larger scale. And we obviously saw the outcome of that after the release of Not Like Us. We ain't got to get personal. It's a fairly fade. You should keep it that way. I know some shit about niggas that make Gunna want to look like a Satan. We know that Drake got personal, and we know that Kendrick warned him to not make it personal. This was his warning. He had the warning above in you know, the beginning of the song, to where he is saying that, you know, don't tell no lie about me. I won't tell the truth about you. You also said that you're very calculated. You're going to try to use the angle of talking about my family because of my last album release. This is another warning. This is a third warning in the same song. We ain't got to get personal. This is a friendly fade. We know above he said that, you know, Cole and Drake is really his friends. And if not, you know, off them, but he really sees them as his friends. And so this is him saying, we ain't got to get personal. This is a friendly fade. We should keep it that way. Like, let's just keep it friendly. Let's go back and forth and show the world who's the better rapper. Let's show these people our verbal abilities and keep it on that. Let's not stir up the dirt. Let's not dig up the dirt and paint false narratives and get very messy. Let's keep this on the spirit of competition, not the spirit of us smearing names or certain things like that. So this was the third one in that same song. We ain't got to use personal. I don't shouldn't make Gunna Wanna look like a saint. Interesting thing about this is that obviously we know that Gunna Wanna is presumed to be a snitch, and so this could be a tie to him saying that, you know, I know some shit about Drake that essentially will reveal to him to be a snitch. But I think this also ties into what I was speaking to you all about with the Benjamin bar, you know, saying that I got a Benjamin and Jackson in my house like I'm Joe, okay? Essentially saying that I'm Michael Jackson's father. And if you're Michael Jackson, you know, you're living in my house, but I also got a rat in my house, either referring to Drake or referring to his team. And that could be a reach, but I think that can, if somebody more inquisitive can probably tie those two bars into each other. This ain't been about critics, not about critics, not about who the greatest. It's always been about love and hate. Now, let me say I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. I hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch a fight, it's going to be direct. We hate the bitches you fuck because you confuse yourself with real women. And notice I say we. It's not just me. I'm with the culture feeling. Rest in peace to Darkman X, a.k.a. Earl Simmons, a.k.a. DMX. This is a direct callback and reference to an interview that DMX had with the Breakfast Club. If you know anything about Kendrick Lamar, you know Kendrick is big fans of three people: Jay-Z, DMX, and Lil Wayne. And so I don't think that it's by happenstance that he took this hate angle on his verse, because he went back and saw that interview, or he remembered that interview in which DMX was saying this about Drake.
And a whole bunch of
I said we cool.
What about Drake? You like Drake?
No.
My man.
He didn't even say a little bit. He didn't even say halfway.
That's my guy right there.
No.
That's why X is necessary in the game right there.
Okay. Now, why don't you like Drake? I don't like anything about Drake.
My,
I don't like his fucking voice. I don't like what he talks about. I don't.
Geez, I be trying to tell these people.
I don't like the way he walks, like nothing. I don't like his haircut. I might just let me shut up. I'll just stop right there.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
So obviously that's a iteration of that excerpt from the interview where DMX is saying that he don't like nothing about Drake, and Kendrick is saying the same thing. Like, I don't like you, but that's the important part about that. And notice I said we is not just me. I'm with the culture feeling. Like, if I'm saying it, we have a legend who said it. You have some fans who are pointing out certain things about you. It's not a personal thing. It's not just like I just have a personal vendetta against you and I'm hating on you. A lot of us feel this way about you. So open up your eyes and see how the world feels about you. See how you are perceived. So that, and notice that I said we is not just me. I'm on the culture feeling. That's what he's referring to. How many more fairy tales about your life till we had enough? How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough? This is tying into that picture of him with blackface. It's tying into Drake running around with artists like Sexy Red, which we're going to get into later in the song. This is Drake now having braids in his hair. This is Drake not being who he was introduced to the world. This is me going back to that point to where Kendrick was very strategic in pinpointing the cultural differences in between him and Drake, but also the differences between Drake who was introduced to us and the Drake that we see now. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. He gonna make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see your chubs really crash on him. So I like when you singing. I don't like when you walking around acting like you a big gangster, because that's not who you are. But that's not even a bar that I want to highlight. You gonna make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see your chubs really crash something. Obviously, he was referring to Puff Daddy. This bar only tells us that not Kendrick. Puffy really had a long-standing history of just being crazy and abusing people, whether men or women, and a lot of these things to be true. The reason why I say that is because back in 2013 or 14, Diddy punched Drake. So y'all see here, I have on my screen, Diddy punched Drake, and a bunch of articles come up. You have one here with the Miami Times. You have Charlamagne say, I know for a fact Diddy really slapped Drake. 50 Cent saying that, Diddy beat up Drake bad that day, so I guess he was a witness. And you just see so many different stories. We have MTV reporting on it. You have TMZ reporting on it. You have hip-hop, on YouTube hip-hop community making videos about it. So I'm just going to click into the story so that y'all can get the details of what happened, to give y'all the backstory before as this is loading. essentially, in 2000, I want to get my year straight. I believe it happened in 2013, so I think it was. The article was dated 2014, so it happened in 2014. Okay, so the story is in the beginning of the year 2014. Boy Wonder, Drake featuring collaborator, producer, gave Drake and Diddy the same beat. I don't know if the objective there was for them to collab on a song, or he just gave both of them the beat to see who can do what they can with that song. The beat in question is the beat on the song 0 to 100. So they both had the song, both had the beat, and I guess Diddy was really just sitting on the beat for like a year. And so Drake just kept, pinging him, bugging him, like, hey, you're going to do something with the song, you're going to do something with the song. And Diddy just wasn't doing anything with the song. So I guess in the meantime, Drake just ended up making it 0 to 100 and was like, well, I'm tired of sitting on the song, I'm tired of sitting on this beat, I'm just going to release it to the world. We obviously know with this being 2014, around that time, this was one of Drake's biggest songs. We know that song skyrocketed and it was out of here. It was a big song that year, or a big song during that time. And so what happened is, after he grew impatient to release a song, obviously the song has commercial success. So later in that year, DJ Khaled has a party in Miami and both of them are there. Diddy approached Drake and Diddy is mad because it's like, why would you release that song when you know I had the beat too? I guess essentially was mad because it was like, I was trying to figure out what to do with that song and you had no right to release that song because I was still trying to figure it out. And from the reports, Drake was essentially like just blowing him off. Like, the song was already out, the song was successful, get away from me. And Diddy didn't like that. Diddy grew frustrated and angry in that moment and slapped Drake. Altercation broke out, and it was reported that from that altercation, like Drake ended up in the ER because I think he injured his shoulder that same night throughout the altercation. But this is what Kendrick is referring to when he said, you're going to make a nigga bring back Puff. Like, nigga, I'm going to slap you. Like, you're going to make me bring the spirit. And it's not even something to laugh about because obviously, as you all watching this video, we learned that Puff is really a crazy and maniacal man. But the reason why I want to highlight that bar is because you're going to make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crashed something. We know Chubbs to be Drake's right-hand man, and he, Drake is carrying this persona of being a tough guy. Obviously, your right-hand man has to be someone carrying this persona of a tough guy as well. And so Chubbs is perceived to be as a man that handles physical altercations or any beefs or anything that arises that may throw Drake off. Chubbs is the person to handle that. He's perceived to be the person who handled that. So Kendrick is saying, well, if that's your person who handles all that stuff, where was he at when you got slapped? And instead of asking you that question, I'm going to bring back the spirit of the person that slapped you just to see if he's really about what y'all claim to be what y'all are about. So this is him challenging not only Drake, but his camp as well. I want to see if y'all are really who y'all say y'all are, because y'all following behind somebody who was portraying himself to be someone who we know who he's not. Yeah, my first one is like my last one. It's a classic. You don't have one. Be honest with y'all, that bar is not true. Not saying that Kendrick don't have a classic, but Drake does have classics, Kendrick. We have to be honest with ourselves. I personally believe Drake to have two classics. Nothing was the same to Take Care. I think the world will say he arguably have two classics. I think that Take Care is for sure a classic, and I think Nothing Was the Same is arguably a classic to the wider masses. But for me, I would say that both of those albums are classics, so that bar is not true. But I get it. You're in a spirit of competition. You have to demean your opponent. Let your core audience stomach that, then tell them where you get your ass from. B12 is the vast. So this is a flip on the story that's going around that essentially Drake has had cosmetic surgery done. It is believed, and pause, I'm talking about another man's body, but it is believed that Drake has had cosmetic surgery done because he bursted onto the scene as this weird body guy, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he's popping up posting shirtless pictures with abs and stuff like that. And so the common idea amongst the hip hop world and social media and things like that is that Drake had cosmetic surgery done, and that cosmetic surgery was a BBL. And so when he says, you know, tell your core audience where you get your abs from, that is what he's referring to. Like, tell them where you get your abs from. Like, have that conversation with them. Tell them where you got it from. And then B12 is a fast one. That's a play, again, double entendres on how fast he got it done. Like, you didn't really work genuinely for your abs. Like, you got it done really fast, quick, fast, and a snippy, as the old people say. And the thing behind that was the V12 machine. Reason why I say that's a play on the V12 is because we know V12 to be synonymous with fast cars here in America, or not even America, worldwide. A V12 engine, you hear a V12 engine, majority of times they are in a fast car. But the play on that is that a V12 is also, as the internet told me, and this is not something that I discovered on my own, so I'm going to be very transparent about that. But as the internet told me, a V12 machine is something that is used in BBL procedures. And so this is what that machine looks like. Obviously, y'all see the engine here as well. But this is the internet decoding that lyric. You'll see, you know, another hidden, like, people... The things that people can find out is very crazy because, again, I don't know nobody with a BBL and nobody next to me got a BBL, so I don't have this information. So for me to discover this on the internet is like very funny. But again, Kendrick is very well thought out. Kendrick is very well read, and he did his research before heading into this battle. So you'll see that there, that V12 engine is a cryolipolysis slimming machine. Yeah, that was so small on my screen. And then this is what I'm referencing in terms of like this belief that people believe that Drake had surgery done. You know, he was looking kind of crazy here, and then next thing you know, he's chiseled. And this is another angle of that, what I was speaking about, and pause again, because I'm on to the pictures of him shirtless. But this is another angle of that, of him just, you know, looked crazy one time, and then all of a sudden he posting just mad, I'm talking about mad like I'm from New York. And then he just posting all his pictures with his shirt off. Like, people believe he had a V12, he used that V12 engine to get that fast abs. I'm done. So Kendrick is very, very funny in that let your core audience, obviously your core being your abdominal system, you know, and your stomach. And so let your core audience stomach that, and then tell them where you get your abs from. It's very well play on words and double entendre and flips within just a very simple bar, I would say. Headshots for the year, you better walk around like Daft Punk. I'm going to show y'all quickly because everybody may not know who Daft Punk is. But essentially Kendrick is saying that you better walk around with a chrome helmet. Because if we're going back and forth, I'm going to keep on just sending headshots. And you're going to need some type of protection. Like, you better walk around like Daft Punk. This is Daft Punk here. Y'all see the helmets that Daft Punk dons. So Kendrick is saying, like, these things, these bullets are going to keep on flying, and you are going to need some type of protection to protect you from what I have planned. And obviously, Drake did not take heed to that because he allowed Not Like Us to be released, and he didn't have on no helmet. Remember A-Top Dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Extortion Mama on there as soon as you hop off that plane, bitch. So this is a direct response to things that were said in the Push-Up records. The Push-Up record, which was a song that was released before this by Drake, Drake is essentially saying that, you see here, extortion baby your career, you've been shook up because Top told you drop and give me 50 like some push-ups. Essentially in this record, Drake is saying that Kendrick is in a bad deal. Kendrick is in a deal so bad that he has to give his label 50% of all his earnings, and he can only drop when his label owner tells him drop records. The beginning of that bar, extortion baby, her career, you've been shook up. He's essentially saying that, like, you're not who you say you are. So essentially saying the same thing Kendrick saying about Drake, but saying about Kendrick, like, yeah, you are from this neighborhood or you're from here, but they extorted you over there. Like, you are not really who you're not really what we know people from that neighborhood to be like. That's not really you. Like, you got money, and so now people are protecting you, so you're being extorted. They taking money for you in exchange of protecting you. And so Kendrick is flipping at it and saying, like, hey, Top Dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Like, if I'm an extortion baby, it's because of who I am, not because of the fame that I attain. So as soon as you land in my city, remember that my middle name is extortion, because the protection that you got around you, that comes from things that I allowed to go on. So this is Kendrick replying directly to that song. As soon as you jump off of that plane, basically alerted to that lane shell, and you like being famous. Kendrick mentions this a lot in all the songs that he says. Even earlier in this song as well. Like, I don't want that fame. Like, only you want that. I want to be ducked off somewhere. And I'm allergic to, like, all the stuff that you do. Like, I don't want to be out here on Instagram. I don't want to be out here posting memes. Like, I don't like being famous. I like being in the cut. Yachty can give you no swag neither. I don't give a fuck about who you hang with. We know that Lil Yachty is a frequent Drake collaborator as of late. We know that he's written a lot of verses and written some songs for Drake as of late as well. And so this is what Kendrick's saying, like, Yachty, you know, even though you're hanging around Yachty, who has swag, this young kid who has a lot of swag, he can't give you that. And then he doubles down on all the things that he hates. I hate the way you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. Surprised you want that feature request. You know we got some shit to address. So the story behind this is that song I was speaking about called First Person Shooter, which was featured on Drake's last solo album, there's rumors that Kendrick Lamar is supposed to be on that song, and he turned down being on that song, and so this is him addressing it. Like, I'm surprised you even wanted that feature request. Like, I didn't even want to be on that song because we still got stuff to address. Like, we've been subliminally throwing shots at each other for over a decade. Like, let's address that first rather than you trying to get a feature from me, because that's the most prevalent issue at hand. You know we got some shit to address. I even heard the way you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess. Some shit just cringe words. It ain't got to be that deep, I guess. This is Kendrick is doubling down on that cultural thing. Like, you're a mixed kid. You appear white. You were raised by a white parent. Hearing you say nigga just don't sit right with me. Like, I don't want to hear you say nigga. Don't say it. But it ain't really that deep. It's just cringeworthy. Whenever I hear you say it, it just makes my blood boil. I still love when your season says everything with me is blessed. Keep making me dance with my hands and it won't be no threat. It's him doubling down on that line that he said above about, you know, I like Drake with the melodies. Like, we know that Drake has dance records. You have the One Dance, you have the Tootsie Slide, you have the, I'm probably forgetting another song, but Drake has a couple of songs to dance to. And so Kendrick is saying, like, bro, just like keep making this dance music and I won't see you as a threat. Like, if you can make me dance, bro, we cool. I can see you as my peer. I can see you as somebody that I can enjoy. But the minute you start portraying yourself to be this tough guy, now I see you as a threat, and now I have to address that threat. But if you don't do that, I won't worry about you, and it's really out of sight, out of mind, because I'm too busy dancing to your music and enjoying your music. And so you won't be no threat. And so lean heavily into that, because the road ahead for you on the other side of that is not in your favor. I'm knowing they calling you boy, but where's the man? Because I ain't seen him yet. Matter of fact, I ain't even bleed him yet. Can I bleed him back? When I see you sitting next to Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you don't like women. There's real competition. You might just pop ass. Well, let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I'll just make sure I double back with you. You was signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said you was signed to that nigga. Like I said, Kendrick is well read, he's well thought out, and this is another cultural reference directly relating to Drake. That line, the first bar, let's speak on a percentage, show me your splits, I'll make sure I double back with you. This is another reply to that song, Push-Ups, because Drake, again, is referring to Kendrick's splits. He's speaking on Kendrick's percentages, saying that you got to give 50% to your label. Everything that you make, your label takes 50% of because your split is so wrong. And Kendrick is saying, like, who are you to be speaking about anybody's percentages, because of there's no way that your percentages is in favor of you because of the deal that you had. You were signed to one artist who was signed to another artist who was signed to a bigger name. Obviously, that one artist being Wayne, the other artist being Birdman, and which Wayne was signed to, and then Birdman is signed to another man. So you was signed to a nigga that signed to the nigga, said he was signed to that nigga, is him saying like, who are you to even be speaking about percentages when you have to go through so many people before you even get to your earnings? But that's also a direct reference to something that Pusha T said in the great diss song Exodus 23:1, in which he's dissing both Drake and Lil Wayne. In that song, Pusha T says this.
All fucked up. I guess that means you all fucked up. You signed to one nigga that signed to another nigga that signed to three niggas. Now that's bad luck. Damn, that shit even the odds now. You better off selling this hard now.
So him, that's, you know, earlier he referenced DMX. Now he's referencing Pusha T. Obviously, it wasn't the first time he referenced Pusha T, but now he's specifically referencing bars that Pusha T said within his back and forth with Drake. He was signed to a nigga, said he was signed to that nigga. Try to see this, don't like that record, hope what you don't like that record. There was a rumor going around that as Like That began to get commercial success, I guess Drake tried to have it stopped at radio. He tried to send out certain letters so that radios wouldn't play it. So that's what Kendrick was referring to. Try to see this, don't like that record, hope you don't like that record. Back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that record. I don't know exactly what Kendrick means here, but what I believe and what the rumors are, I'm going to disclose that with y'all. Back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to the record. I perceive that to be is what he did. So obviously we got the Euphoria song, and then Drake released Family Matters. Or obviously we got Euphoria, and then we got 616 in LA. So what I think of back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that record. I'm thinking that Kendrick is saying that, oh, I can do back to back too, and I'm going to show you I can do back to back, because he showed us he did back to back. He released this song, and then on Friday within that same week he ended up releasing 616 in LA. So that was essentially a back to back that Kendrick did. So that's what I'm thinking when he says that I'm gonna get back to that, to the record. But from what I discovered on the internet, people believe that to be a direct reference to the artist Daylight. So if you don't know who Daylight is, actually I'm gonna pull Daylight up on my screen right now. Daylight is a rapper, a battle rapper from Watts, and you've all probably seen him because it's kind of hard to miss Daylight because of all his antics. But essentially, Daylight is a battle rapper from Watts. He is close with the TDE family, and there's rumors going around. Obviously, we know Drake to be a big fan of battle rap. There's rumor going around that essentially Daylight Ghost wrote on the song Back to Back. Obviously, we know Back to Back to be Drake's biggest diss record. There's rumors going around that Daylight served as the ghostwriter on that. So when he says Back to Back, I like that record, I'm gonna get back to that as a record. People perceive that to be as Kendrick exposing him for having a ghostwriter on a Back to Back record. Again, this was never confirmed or denied. I'm just telling y'all what I have read on the internet in terms of what people think he means by getting back to that. But going back into who Daylight is, if you've never seen him, this is what he looks like. It's a battle rapper from Watts. You see here, you scroll not too far, he's pictured with Drake. So that's not too far-fetched to think that a battle rapper has ghostwritten for Drake, because we know that rappers who are not well-known have ghostwritten for Drake before. I'm going to get back to that with a record. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all think my life is rap? This is, again, another reference to people. When this song first came out, it's more widely liked now, but because people are such huge Drake fans, when this song first came out, people were like peeved that there were so many Pusha T references in the song. Me personally, I like it because there were certain things that were addressing that Pusha T beef that were swept under the rug because Pusha T don't have as many set of eyes on him as a Kendrick Lamar does. And so Kendrick is resurfacing certain things, and now those things are on a wider scale and people have to pay attention to it because an artist of his magnitude is speaking about it. But the reason why I'm saying this is a reference to Pusha T, because when I speak about earlier, when I said that, you know, Kendrick was saying that he calculated how calculated Drake was, and he even predicted his angle. This is another one of the angles. You know, I spoke about one of his angles being mentioning people's significant others. Another one of his angle is putting money in the street to get dirt on rappers. We later learned that when Kendrick follows up with 616 in LA, that he said that Drake, put money in the streets, and it really nothing came back from the money he put in the streets because nobody had any dirt to give him because he loved peace. I'm going to break down that song in the next video, so y'all tune into that to get further explanation on that. But I do want to play this video so that y'all have a reference into what he's speaking about in 616 in LA, but also what he's speaking about in this specific bar right here, where he's saying, why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Because this is something that Drake has done in the past and something that's been confirmed by Pusha T here on this clip on the Joe Budden podcast.
Is what can make or break you.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes is what can make or break you, and then what happens within that is what's presented to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the scenes in this situation, like I was saying earlier, I had tweeted out, "Yo, there's a $100,000 can't dig up skeletons that don't exist." That was a real thing. Like, being on my way to Wyoming to listen to the Ye album, we get a call, and basically, a old friend of mine said, "Listen, somebody reached out to me. They got $100,000 for information on you." I knew it was true simply because the person, they should have never known this person.
Privy.
Yeah, like this is from 2001 to,
different time in your life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a good way to put that word. Different time in your life.
And at the same time, like it was a shocker because the person who was mediating, it was this girl named Cap. This person who was mediating this $100,000 was somebody who worked on all of my projects. Like, she worked on all of my projects, worked on Adidas campaigns. I was at her baby shower. Why you would ever do that to me? And it's real deep. It's real deep with me and her, just in regard to, like,
is it just a money thing that makes somebody do that? Is it solely
I don't
fiscal?
think so. I think it's heat. I think it's wanting to be next to heat. She is an industry person. She is industry.
So that matters.
I'm going to play the rest of that clip, but I'm not going to play all of it because I don't want to spend too much time on that. But that is a confirmation in, like, the angles in Drake's take. So when I speak about it in the next video, y'all won't think I'm just blurting out whatever I'm blurting out. That's literally a confirmation in terms of, like, the angles he have taken. This is also another angle he took in his beef with Meek Mill, in which Meek Mill revealed that, like, there was people who in Philly who was being called that was saying Drake was offering them money to give him dirt on them. So this is Kendrick saying, no, why would I try and get dirt on niggas? Y'all think about life or that whole shit. I got a son to raise, but I can see nothing about that. Waking them up, nothing about that. And telling them to pray, nothing about that. And giving them tools to walk through life, like, day by day, you don't know nothing about that. Teaching them moral integrity, discipline, you don't know nothing about that. Speaking of truth and considering what God's considering, you don't know nothing about that. So essentially saying, like, bro, this is what I enjoy doing. This is my life. I understand that you have time to be putting money in the streets trying to dig up dirt about me, but I don't have time to do that because I have time to raise my kids. That's what my priority is. And you are over there neglecting your child, and because you are neglecting your child, you are doing this lame stuff that you are known to do. And so that's why he said, you don't know nothing about that. It's him doubling down on that. Like, you are known to neglect your child. We know that we only know about your child because it was discovered because one of your close friends disclosed that to somebody who was close to Pusha T, and Pusha T revealed that through your beef. And we learned on your Rap Radar podcast interview that you even said that Judy was able to claim your son in the beginning, and that you had to take 3 paternity tests before you even moved forward with even claiming him. So this is Kendrick doubling down on, like, the things you prioritize and the things I prioritize are on completely 2 different spectrums, and I'm going to show you that. 820v1 is 1v20. If I gotta smack a nigga that's right with you, you bring him out to you. Tell Beanie he better stay right with you. My battling Ghostwriting AI nigga feel like Joel Austin funny. He was in a film called AI, and my 6'6" telling me all thing. So we know that Drake is beefing with a bunch of different people at one time. However, he's taking on this angle, constantly saying that it's 20 versus 1, it's 20 people versus a 1, but nobody's really buying into that false narrative. Everybody know the main event is Kendrick and Drake. Everybody is ignoring the other people that's beefing against him. it's really a one-on-one. And Kendrick is saying that, you know, it's not a 20 verse one. It's just me and you. And if there is a 20 verse one, it's in your favor because you have ghostwriters. You have been exposed for having ghostwriters, and you still have ghostwriters to this day. So I have to battle you, and I have to battle all the people that is writing for you. So it's a 1v20 in your favor. Yeah, bringing them out too. I clean them out too until Beam, I better say right with you. So this is him specifically referencing one of Drake's ghostwriters, Beam, artist who has worked with Drake in the past. I believe he's worked with Rihanna and other lot of notable artists in the past as well. And even that's a double meaning within itself before I even go scrolling past that. Yeah, bring them out too. I clean them out too. Tell Beam and better stay right with you. Obviously, clean them out. I clear the whole scene and all the people that's with you. And then he says, tell Beam and better stay right with you. That could be a play on guns. Obviously, he had that line in the beginning of the song about, you know, Drake talking about guns. He hate when he talks about guns because he have on a line praying for likes and digital hugs, whatever the case may be. Beam, obviously, we know Beam on a gun, Beam on a Glock, whatever the case may be. Like, I clean everybody out that's next to you, so you better keep that gun on your hip because I'm coming prepared. Now, battling Ghost of AI nigga feel like Joel Osteen funny. He was in a film called AI. I'm a 6 cents telling me to off him. Joel Osteen was not in the film AI, y'all. The film AI was a movie that was released in the late 90s. It was a sci-fi film, and it featured this kid whose name was Joel Osment. Haley Joel Osment. He was featured in this film called AI. He was also later featured in the film called 6 Cents. This is very important to note because the last song released in this Back and Forth by Kendrick is Not Like Us. On the song Not Like Us, Kendrick says, Psst, I see dead people. That's one of the most famous quotes from this movie, the 6 Cents. But anyways, getting back into Haley Joel Osment, y'all see here that he also appeared in this movie. And so when I say that, like, Joel Osteen didn't appear, I don't know if Kendrick was saying Joel Osteen because it just rhymed, or he really thought that the kid name was Joel Osteen, but the kid name of Joel Osteen is not Joel Osteen. And I can understand that Joel Osteen rhymes better than Joel Osment. So if that's the angle that he took, I definitely understand that he just went for what rhymed rather than what was factually true. But yeah, Joel Osment was in 6 Cents, not Joel Osteen. So it actually wasn't funny, Kendrick. If big niggas all in the coffin, the OVO niggas a dick rise and run America, imitate Harris, they can imitate this fine. This is going back into that cultural reference thing. This is going back into the differences in between the neighborhoods they were raised in. Like, I was raised somewhere to where, you know, violence and things like that is natural. And so y'all coming to America, y'all trying to see how we move and see how we operate and see what's going on in our hood so y'all can take it back to where y'all from and try to imitate that. But you can't imitate this violence. Like, this is something that's been brewing for so many years that it's second nature. You can't, you know, you have this tough guy act. You can't take this back to Canada and act out what we are doing here. We can skip some of the, figure out time ever. This Crody stuff is really funny because he's just playing, I don't know what song on that album Her Loss it is, but it's one of the songs on the album where Drake has a verse where he's saying Crody. We also know Crody to be Canadian slang, so this is Kendrick doubling down on picking apart how lame Drake is. Don't speak on the family Crody, can get deep in the family talk. Wait, my family Crody, somebody gonna bleed in your family Crody. This is also going back into that warning and him telling Drake, like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, and if you do it, I'm gonna smack you. And so this is when he's saying, like, it can get deep in the family Crody, talk about me, my family Crody, somebody gonna bleed in your family Crody. Obviously, we learned that Drake doubled down on speaking about his family, and Kendrick warned him. And Drake did not take heed to those warnings, and so we got songs like Meet the Grounds, we got songs like Not Like Us. Like, he warned him multiple times to not do it, and you see here on the screen, and Drake went ahead and did it. And so he unfortunately had to meet his demise from doing that. I be at New York King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and a banana Crody, telling you cheese and fam, we can do this right now on a camera Crody. So people thought that this was a reference into Drake's robbery that happened in 2009, and I'm here to tell y'all that that rumor is not true. I know as a Kendrick fan for him to be more well thought out, and I feel like I've displayed that in this video. I know that Kendrick to be very well researched. I feel like I displayed that in this video, and I feel like Kendrick is very well structured, and I feel like I displayed that in this video. And so people are saying that, oh, he mentioned New Old King because he's like mentioning Drake got robbed and such and such, such and such. I literally just think that Kendrick mentioned New Old King because it was somewhere he's been before. He's been to Toronto. And he's saying that I be in your hood, but I be in your hood, like I don't be lacking. I be in your hood with protection. And I think that's just literally just all that line is, but people believe that to be as him mentioning Drake getting robbed. And so the reason why I want to dispel that rumor because it can't be factually correct. You'll see here in this article in 2009, this is when Drake got robbed. It says, Toronto's world-beating hip-hop star Drake was enjoying an evening at a restaurant at Little Italy at the corner of College and Beatrice Street. So I want y'all to remember those streets because I'm going to highlight those in the next segment. You can see here, Drake left the restaurant that night with a woman named Chantel Brown. If this name sounds familiar to y'all, this is someone who was eventually a host on 106 Park. Around that time. According to a synopsis drawn up by police, and they walked down Beatrice Street to his parked SUV. Drake was either sitting in his seat or about to slide in. When two men walked up, they drew handguns and pointed them in Drake's face. They demanded he give up his jewelry and cash and had little choice to do but comply. He had little choice but to comply. So I want y'all to remember those streets. It said the restaurant was at the corner of College and Beatrice, and his car was parked down Beatrice Street. Now, if y'all looking at my screen, this is College Street and Beatrice Street. To the left of my screen, where the red dot is. To the right of my screen over here, you see New Hope King is highlighted. You see New Hope King is on a complete different street. It's not on College, nor is it on Beatrice. It's all the way over here. And you can see here at the top left of my screen that it's a 22-minute walk. So I find it hard to believe that someone will leave a date and walk 22 minutes just to get to their car, or will park their car at 22 minutes away. Like, it just doesn't seem logical. And even in the report, it said that they walked down Beatrice to get to his car, and that's where he was robbed at. So you see here, Beatrice runs from here to here. So he got robbed anywhere on this street. New Old King is all the way over there. So that can't be factually correct that Kendrick mentioned New Old King to point out to the world that he got robbed at New Old King, because the report says that he got robbed on Beatrice Street. So I don't want to dive any further to that because it's not that big of a deal, but I just really wanted to dispel this rumor, because what happens a lot of times on the internet is that, you know, one person will say something and if enough people agrees with it, it then becomes the truth. And so that is not the case here, of it being the truth. I'm not saying that is not the case, or that I don't know what Kendrick's intentions were specifically, but I don't believe him to have mentioned that to point out the fact that Drake got robbed, because Drake didn't get robbed at New Old King. Obviously. We can do this on camera, Cody, blah, 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 fuck y'all niggas, fuck y'all niggas, whatever, fuck y'all niggas too. If you take it there, I'm taking it further. Another warning. This is like the 4th or 5th warning. If you take it there, I'm taking it further. That's something you don't want to do. If you take it there, I'm taking it. This is the 4th or 5th warning that he gave this man, and he just ignored it. Drake just ignored all the warnings in the song. I know this is a 7-minute song, so it's kind of hard to sit through, but the man constantly warned you to not go there, and you went there. And then he went further. He released his song on you. He did a You on You. Like, just listen sometimes. Stop being so egotistic. Stop being so big-headed that you are not paying attention to what people are saying. If Drake wasn't so egotistic, he would have listened to the warnings and he would have went a different route. But he didn't, and then he got demolished. That's something you don't want to do. We don't want to hear you say nigga no more. We don't hear you when you say nigga no more. Stop. So that's the end of this. So shout out to Drake and Kendrick. I love this back and forth. I feel like this was very important. And I really love this song for it to be a 7-minute song and to be packed with so many layers and so many things to dissect. If y'all did love this video, please do leave feedback in the comments. Please let me know if y'all want another lyric breakdown for another song, because I do want to expand upon this and break down other songs. Obviously, those videos are not going to be as long as this because they're not going to be 7 minutes. But I think that it is important as I'm stepping out and branching out with this Rhythm and Peace podcast, a music focused podcast, that I'm able to dive into the minds of these artists. Again, this is the very first episode of Lyrics Breakdown. I appreciate y'all tuning in. That's really all I have for this episode. I'm out.